Well, the Philippines and China signed dozens of deals when Chinese President Xi Jinping visited the country last week. Both governments say that these deals will help bolster the Philippine economy through partnerships on infrastructure and oil and gas development. But analysts admit the agreements are surrounded by distrust as both countries are locked in a maritime dispute over the West Philippine Sea. And to help us make sense of all of this and the potential opportunities involved, we have today Peter Chun. He is the founder and CEO of Silverbear Capital based in Hong Kong. Good to have you on the show, Peter.
Thank you very much.
And you manage $3.5 billion in assets, and a lot of that also is seen here in the Philippines. How investor friendly is the Philippine market?
Well, I think they got ignited by the little sparkle from 2016. Actually, from both presidents of both countries signed up probably around $24 billion of investments or loan pledge from China money. So actually, a lot of the investors from Asians, especially China, had actually put a little more focus in the Philippine market, what's so-called before the incidents. So I think the progress has been very, very smooth until now, and I think the strategy between the two countries has actually helped the China money and what's so-called Asian money to actually slowly move into Philippine market.
As you talk to some of these businessmen and these investors, what is their sentiment about investing here? Are they really excited about it? Are they seeing a lot of potential? Or are they still a bit cautious about entering?
They are cautious. They're skeptical about everything in the beginning, especially about the China Sea issue. That's kind of like on the back all the time. We're so glad that the oil thing has been resolved recently. So I think that's another thing that everybody was hoping to go through. We're still cautious, very cautious, but I think it's much better for the next 2 years to come, because I think when the first batch of money came through in the Philippines earlier before, they're probably getting some return back now, and I'm sure the risk management compliances guys will give a thumb up.
That's an interesting perspective, because when we talk here about the deals and the closer ties with China, there's concern that the deals are not above the
water.
Yeah, exactly. That there's some intentions underneath that are questionable. What do you make of that, of all this rhetoric that you hear?
Personally, I'm glad that they made it. So there is intense discussion between the two countries on political issues, on probably below the curtain discussions, above the curtain discussions about the South China Sea, and obviously this is greatly linked to how the two countries will progress as a friend from now on in both political journey and the economical journey. So now I think after the visit last week from President Xi, this has cleared up a little bit, and from the investment point of view, equity guys' point of view, from our firm point of view, this is definitely something that we can rely on from this point about putting money into Philippines.
What kind of sectors are investors really interested in? I know construction is a big one because of the Build, and the One Belt, One Road initiative. Where is the money being made?
Fintech, for sure, for the next probably couple of years. I mean, anything that has a mobile component to it. Infrastructure, for sure. I think the infrastructure will give you a fixed income based to the money being put in. Fintech, as said, would be a key. Biotech, agriculture is something that Philippines is looking to grow outside Philippines. So anything that's agricultural, I believe is something that we should take a look at.
And you did mention the telco, of course. That third telco is with China Telecom.
Yes.
What are you expecting from that deal?
Oh, well, that's actually a lot of people do ask me about it. I think personally we can slow down on that particular one, just so that we can get comfortable with everybody before it takes off. I think nevertheless, I'm sure from a economical point of view, everybody wants things to happen very quickly. But also there will be side effects if it's done wrong. So that, I think we should slow down a little bit, and then we should take it step by step. Although I do agree that it should happen, though.
Yeah. What's the biggest concern on the Chinese side on that?
I think there's no concern. It's just, I think the China people should sometimes relook at how we pace ourselves with working with Philippines, because we can actually take it step by step. Will be seen as a better partner than rather than as just a pure aggressive investors from a lot of people's point of view.
That is an interesting point of view, because that is often the source of the distrust that we see on the ground amongst the average Filipino, that it's just a money thing. They're just trying to exploit, the opportunities here, and not really vested interest in the people. How do you battle that narrative that's out there?
Correct. That's exactly what I'm trying to say, but in a non-English point of view. But I think there is a equal balance from the China side about making a really true friendship between the two countries from now on. So I think it's just not because there is money in between both countries. I think there is the journey that I think that both countries needs to kind of take on together from now on, and try to bilaterally work together and agree on certain things, and even on difficult issues, trying to agree on them. And I think, as I said, I'm so glad that it made out smoothly from what I've seen so far. And I think that we have made the right decision about for the past couple of years about getting a little bit more active into this region.
Okay, well, looking ahead, geopolitically, the U.S. and China tariff war is on our top of mind here in the region as well. What is your sense for how that affects the Philippines and investments between our countries?
Well, I mean, I guess many people from the Philippine end has seen a clear path and some trade-off about Philippines making friends now with China versus U.S. So obviously there is a effect whereby Philippines will play a mediate role from now on, probably between China and U.S., while China and U.S. enter into what's so-called a trade war from a lot of people's point of view. China definitely is not responding in a friendly way to the trade war right now with the U.S. But however, this created an extra opportunity between China and Philippines, because if you look at how China has been building GDP for the last 20, 30 years, all for manufacturing. And now whether China will start to go outside China through this One Belt One Road policy, allowing manufacturers to actually station themselves outside China into friendly zones like Philippines, and where you provide jobs in Philippines and manufacture and export back to U.S. would be something that we should actually think about. And again, this will give a bilateral GDP growth between Philippines and China, but without responding to the trade war directly from China.
We'll be definitely looking out for that as the two leaders meet this week at G20. But good to have you on the show, Peter.
Thank you very much.
Looking forward to, I hear that maybe you'll be creating an investment fund here in the Philippines.
Yes.
Yeah, so we'll be looking out for you more in the future. Peter Chun, of course, is founder and CEO of Silverbear Capital. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.